Is property tax relief coming? It's February 14th, 2025, and these are your headlines. That'd be a nice little Valentine's Day gift, wouldn't it? Some property tax relief. Lord knows Texas needs it. Well, the Texas Senate swiftly passed its first budget item, approving billions in new property tax relief through the homestead exemption and tax rate compression. Of course, there's a lot of conversation about what the best way to do property tax relief is. Senators voted unanimously to pass Senate Bill 4 by State Senator Paul Bettencourt to provide property tax relief under the Senate's preliminary budget proposal. And just a couple days earlier, lawmakers on the Senate Committee on Local Government heard testimony on SB 4 before unanimously sending it over to the full Senate. So it's got a lot of support in that chamber. The measure passed yesterday alongside its companion Senate Joint Resolution 2, which would be a constitutional amendment that would codify those changes if voters approve it in November. SB 4 would raise the homestead exemption to $140,000 for adults and $150,000 for seniors and those with disabilities. In addition, the measure would approve another estimated $3 billion for school districts already outlined in SB 1 to reduce their tax rates. Known as tax rate compression, this process involves paying down the school district tax rate with state revenue, largely state sales taxes. In SB 4, this is done to disincentivize tax rate hikes on homeowners in response to the increase in the homestead exemption. Senator Bettencourt's office estimates that the homestead exemption increase and rate compression would save the average Texas homeowner around $500 in annual school property taxes. SB 4 and SJR 2 are now being sent over to the House, which has developed its own plan for property tax relief in House Bill 1, that chamber's budget proposal, which notably includes no increase to the homestead exemption, but does include about $6.5 billion in total tax compression, with $3.5 billion contingent upon legislation. Another measure filed in the Texas Senate would expand parental rights and existing protections against explicit books in the state's government schools. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick put guarding against inappropriate books in public schools as one of his top priorities this session. Senate Bill 13, filed by Senator Angela Paxton, would institute library advisory councils, which would consist of at least 5 members appointed by the school district's Board of Trustees to oversee the procurement of new books. A majority of the council members must be parents of district students and cannot be employed by the district. The Board of Trustees also has the discretion to appoint 1 or more non-voting members from the public. SB 13 would also expand the definition of what constitutes harmful material and would require the Board of Trustees to publicize the list of newly proposed library materials for at least 30 days before final approval. In addition, the measure establishes new procedures for parents to block their children's access to problematic library content. Alongside the proposed library advisory councils, SB 13 stipulates that any material challenged via the grievance process will be temporarily withheld until the process is complete.
America is at a crossroads. Now, more than ever, Texas must step up and lead the country. We don't have time to mess around. The only way to save America is with a strong Texas. You and I know this, but so do the enemies of life and liberty. Therefore, you and I have no choice but to stand up and fight. I'm Sarah Gonzalez, and to the enemies of liberty, I say, come and take it.
Last up, the New York Stock Exchange has announced its plans to launch New York Stock Exchange Texas, a fully electronic stock exchange based in Dallas. It's part of the Intercontinental Exchange. This week, they announced that its Texas branch will be rebranding and reincorporation of their New York Stock Exchange, Chicago. According to the Tax Foundation, Texas currently ranks 7th in how well states' tax policies encourage economic growth by lifting cumbersome regulations on businesses. It's reinforced by the fact that over the past year, major companies have relocated from other states to Texas, including Elon Musk's Tesla and X. Governor Greg Abbott celebrated the decision, stating that Texas has the nation's most powerful economy and that it will assume the position of America's financial capital. For more of today's stories, go to TexasScorecard.com.